In the spring of 2001, a 54-year-old Israeli man renewed his wedding vows. The photos would appear on the front cover of Hello magazine. The best man was Michael Jackson, and the groom was Uri Geller, the world's most famous psychic.
Ladies and gentlemen, Uri Geller.
It's 30 years since Uri Geller captured the attention of the media by bending a fork on British television.
Look, it's like it's becoming like plastic. Look, it's very...
What was remarkable was that he claimed to do it using only the power of his mind.
Is it magic? Tell me.
It's not magic, and I'm not a magician.
This is the story of a charismatic showman desperate for lasting fame.
Some way, one way, almost any way, Uri Geller was going to be a star. As an entertainer, as a singer, as an astronaut, as a spy, or just possibly as a spoonbender.
It's a tale of scientists and politicians, spies and aliens.
You could see people wanting to make him into a guru, and he absolutely refused. I mean, he would run away from that in a blink.
I don't want to be a messenger. I don't want to be a Jesus or a Moses, because I'm not.
This is the bizarre saga of Geller's ongoing battle to convince the world that he truly does possess superhuman powers. At his mansion in the heart of the English countryside, Uri Geller cycles 27 miles a day. He lives in luxury, surrounded by dozens of energy-giving crystals with his 2 children, his wife's brother, and his mother. On his bike, Geller answers the scores of emails he receives from his army of fans around the world.
I would say 70% of all emails are people asking for something, guidance, and I'm very careful what I say. Here is a very problematic one. Hi, Uri. I have a huge problem. I'm the most poverty-struck person I know. And unless I get some help to deal with the problem, that may not change. Anyhow, it goes on and on. I will try to put her in the bigger picture, and I will say, just think about all the sick children that are fighting for their lives in hospitals. Do you think you have a problem? Question mark. Love, Uri. That's it. She will probably read it once, twice, and say, wait a minute, what am I really complaining about? And if this doesn't go through, she will probably email me again, and then I will tell her, you're very stubborn, I can't really help you. I'm not a miracle worker.
At 11 o'clock, Geller prays over his emails before his replies are sent off by his assistants. For Geller, the number 11 has a special psychic significance.
I have been attracted to the number 1111 for almost 18 years. It's like my face, my body would turn around and look at a clock, and it would be 1111. Something is telling us out there, hey, pay attention. And then the incredible synchronicity of the terrorist attack on the 11th of September. And then I find out that Afghanistan is 11 letters, George W. Bush is 11 letters, Colin Powell is 11 letters, Jesus Christ is 11 letters, Harry Potter is 11 letters. There is something here that we cannot decipher yet. See what I mean? Look, 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 there it is. Why did you say to bring a clock? 1111, there you go. I mean, for goodness sake, is that a coincidence? No way.
Geller's story begins in Israel in 1946. He was an only child in a family that, like the country, was constantly at war. Money was tight. His father was an army tank commander and a womanizer who gave the young Geller little attention. Geller was forced to spend time on his own, often playing in an overgrown garden. Fact and fantasy began to blur.
He had what is broadly known as a Joan of Arc experience in a garden in Tel Aviv when he was about 5. When he, to put it bluntly, thinks he saw a UFO and thinks he was affected by it in some way.
One thing I know, that it did happen, but what it was, I don't know. It could have been a supernatural event. It could have been an extraterrestrial encounter, but it also could have been something my own mind created, but created physically. It was out there, I could touch it if I would have stretched my hand. There's no other explanation.
Geller claims that after this mysterious episode, he discovered spoons would miraculously bend while he was holding them. And while his mother was playing cards, he says he could telepathically read what was in her hand. At school, Geller appears to have kept quiet about his supposed supernatural powers. Instead, his friends remember him for his vivid imagination.
Uri was always a little bit bigger than life, it seemed to me, and he always wanted to be. He's the sort of fellow that if he could run around a building faster than anybody else, he would probably try to convince you that actually he jumped over the top of it. The only quirky thing that I recall was watches would always break when he wore them. But beyond that, he was a normal kid, like Clark Kent was, I suppose, as a boy, right?
Geller left school determined to be noticed. But it wasn't to his supernatural powers that he first turned. He began working as a male model, presenting the latest in underarm deodorants, beach towels, and cigarettes.
Well, this is where I keep my past. This is such easy work, but it really was about the charisma that you could project out to the readers of the papers and convince them that, you know, you want them to buy that watch or smoke that cigarette. And I found it very natural. But there is that feeling of you're wanted, and maybe I needed that. It's just eased me into the field of show business, entertainment.
But it was not long before Geller outgrew modelling. He had bigger ambitions. While working as a youth leader at a summer camp, Geller decided he was ready to start unveiling his supposed superhuman powers. He began by performing feats of mind reading with his young audience.
He would really captivate all the kids. They were like mesmerized. We were about 12 or 13, and most of the kids didn't really understand what it was. They thought it was just, you know, something really like magic, or they didn't really grasp it. I had a feeling that there's something more to it.
So impressed was the teenage Shippy that he teamed up with Geller. His sister was to become Geller's wife, and Shippy himself, Geller's personal assistant. With Shippy's help, Geller devised a psychic stage show.
Uri Geller usually begins his show with a couple of simple telepathic demonstrations. He has his eyes bound and then asks somebody from the audience to write a name, a number, or a color on a blackboard upstage of him. Shortly afterward, he can then say what has been written on the board.
Okay, so sure it was Tokyo. Okay.
As well as apparently incredible feats of telepathy, Geller's show included metal bending and watch fixing, all supposedly done with the power of his mind. The performances were immediately controversial.
It was nothing like this ever. I mean, you know, before Uri came on the scene, there was no such thing. Some skeptics tried to come up with all kind of explanations. They say, we found a book and it's rubbish, nonsense. There was no such thing. And so Israel were like amazed, and theaters were packed, queues around the blocks. It was unbelievable.
Audiences flocked to the theaters to find out if this psychic was for real.
First of all, you see a very young man, handsome, charismatic, a showman by nature. He was born a showman. Well, I'm a very rational person, so something in me rebelled against the Uri Geller phenomena. But the more I met him, the more I saw that it couldn't be explained away by tricks and sleight of hand.